Hello there. You know, it has been a while since I have bought some Star Wars Vintage Collection action figures. You know, for my collection. Some of these are new and some of these are repeats. But you know, when you find a good sale, you just can't pass it up. Welcome to Unboxing the Boxes, my Star Wars collection. I am Collector Steve, and last weekend I went Star Wars hunting. It has been a while since I've done that, mainly because I needed to recover from some home and auto insurance payments that were due. Ouch. But I would say that my latest hunt was fairly successful. Let's take a look at the 6 Vintage Collection action figures that I recently picked up. Of course, before I do that, I would just like to invite you to like this video and give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It does really help my channel if you do that. So let's take a look at these. I think we'll take a look at this bag first, because this was the bag of the repeats. These figures I already have in my collection, but the sale price was just a little too good to pass up. And besides, I was able to pick up some pretty decent figures. The first one of these is from the TV show The Mandalorian, and that would be number 266, known as the Klatooanian Raider. Of course, this is one of the not very nice guys that we see in the show. And like I said, I already have them in the collection, but Walmart was closing out for $6 on this figure. And if you look at the normal price here, Vintage Collection figures are now up to $16.97. $17 for a Vintage Collection figure. You know, I've said this before, Hasbro is making it real easy to slow down the buying of these. $17 for an action figure is getting a bit ridiculous, especially when you look in the toy aisle at other figures that are out there for half the price of this. Granted, the Vintage Collection figures have a lot of articulation and so forth, so I can see a little bit pricier figure. But really, $17? Come on, let's get real. That's why when I found it for $6, I couldn't pass it up, because it is a great looking figure. I like the way of its design. I like the pistol right across his chest there. And he does come with another pistol, but it's just a fantastic looking figure. I really like this one. So of course, I thought a second one for the collection wouldn't be bad. The next one I also have in the collection. In fact, I have 2 of these, but I have 2 different cards for this. Of course, this is Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing pilot uniform, number 158. And again, I was able to get this on sale for $6. My local Walmart is kind of trying to clean out some of these old figures. Like I said, I do have 2 of these, and basically it's the back of the card that really looks different. The older version, I think if I remember right, was kind of black on the back. The newer version is blue. So yeah, same figure, but 2 different cards, so repackaged type thing. The third figure I bought that was on sale, Darth Vader. Yes, I already have a couple of these Darth Vaders, but there again, for $6, can you really have too many Darth Vaders? And besides, I figure for $6, if I really want to get rid of them, I don't think I'd have too much trouble trying to get rid of it. In fact, I could always give it away as a present or whatever. So there, oh, by the way, this is $334. So there are the 3 figures that I bought that were on sale at Walmart on closeout. $10 off per figure. Kind of hard to pass that up. Now, they did have Lando Calrissian, too. I know a lot of you have seen Lando Calrissian figures eating up at least one of the pegs in your stores. I passed on Lando. I figured one Lando was probably enough, but these 2, of course, main characters of this trilogy, you got to have them. So there's those 3. We'll put them over to the side. Now, the next bag here was at a different Walmart, and you know, before I go to those, I just got to say, correct me if I'm wrong, or let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong, But my local Walmarts, the Star Wars section has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I'd be willing to bet in the 3 Walmart stores that I checked out last week, the Star Wars section for the figures and Black Series and everything else is probably down to about 3 feet wide. I remember the days of Toys R Us when the prequels came out. You had 12 feet or more of action figures hanging on the walls, action figures and vehicles and all kinds of stuff. Now we're down to 3 feet. That tells you a lot about the situation of Star Wars toys these days. And maybe after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out next year, maybe we'll see an uptick in that. I don't know, it's hard to say. A lot of people have been saying Star Wars is dying. And I would say it's not as popular as it once was. But I think part of the reason is we just haven't had any media out that has really sparked the imagination, especially of the youngsters. Plus, let's face it, youngsters don't play with the toys as much as we did when I was a kid. Now, anyway, getting to the new figures. 2 of these were also on sale. One I had to buy at regular price. The first one that I got on sale is, I guess, an older figure. It's KS or K2SO from Andor. And this is vintage collection number 340. And I did not have this as part of my collection. I have never seen this in the store. And I'll tell you flat out, I prefer to buy them in the stores. I know we can go online and buy them and pre-order them through all these things. I hate pre-ordering because I forget what I bought. Prefer to see them in the stores. And Hasbro and Disney have really been botching it, getting a lot of the action figures in the stores. For example, this one, well, it came out in 2024. I didn't see it in a store till last weekend. Not very good as far as the marketing here, guys. But let's take a look at this figure quick. It is a good figure of K2SO. You'll notice he is a little taller than most figures, and that is because K2 is a big droid. I think they did a pretty decent job with the detail on this. Of course, lots of articulation again, which is what we like seeing in the vintage collection. And this is one of the few times that we see a pistol come with one of the droids. You remember K2, he always wanted to have a pistol handy. So I'm glad I got that one for my Andor collection. There isn't too many of those figures in the collection. The next one I bought on, oh, by the way, regular price, $16.97, right? I bought this one for $10.50. So about $6.50 off. I'll take it. Especially since I didn't have it in the collection yet. The next one I have here is vintage collection number 312A. So it must be a variant on something. And this happens to be the Mandalorian Imperial Base figure. Now, I haven't taken the time yet to really look at what the difference is. But one thing that caught my eye real quick, this one has a white jetpack on his back. And the figure, of course, this is with the Beskar armor. So I would say this is from the second, or well, probably the 3rd series. It does come with a pistol. So just 2 accessories there. But again, very well done sculpt. That's one nice thing about the vintage collection. They do a good job of sculpting the figures. So I'm kind of glad I was able to get that at a sale price. The last one I have here, I had to buy at regular price. But I didn't mind because it's a new figure. And it's one that I didn't have on the collection. And as far as I know, it is the only vintage collection figure, at least so far, from the Skeleton Crew. That figure happens to be Jod Na Nawood. This happens to be vintage collection 310. And let me just read what it says in the back here about it. When 4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, they get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. Finding their way home, meeting unlikely allies and enemies will be a greater adventure than they ever imagined. So we've got a nice description of the show. Nothing about Jod, though. So when we look at Jod, we can see he comes with 2 accessories, basically his hood cover and a pistol. And that's about it. But as far as the facial sculpt, looks very good. The coat is made out of vinyl. It is not cloth, so I have a feeling that could get in the way of positioning it in different positions. But like I said, it's the first one from the Skeleton Crew that I think is on, that has been released. In fact, I think it's the only one from the Skeleton Crew that has been released. I hope they do release the 4 kids yet for this, and I hope they even release a couple of the other action figures. I would just love to see Captain Brutus in a vintage collection figure. Well, there we have it. The 6 figures, the 6 vintage collection figures that I picked up during my Star Wars hunt last weekend. Unfortunately, these are the only 6 that I picked up. Like I said, the Targets and the Walmarts just don't have many vintage collection figures anymore. It seems every year more and more you've got to go online now to buy them. And I hate to say it, but I've gotten to the point that I don't really like buying from Amazon anymore, because too often I've received bad cards or open bubbles and things like that. It's like Amazon just doesn't care. They'll send out whatever, doesn't matter. And for a collector, that's the wrong type of attitude. For a kid who's going to open them up and play with them, not a big deal. For an in-the-box collector, we want it on decent cards. And Amazon has been lacking in that regard lately. Well, out of these, which is your favorite? Let's give 2 favorites of the $6 ones and of the newer ones. Do you have all of these in your collection or not? Or have they gotten too expensive now and you're just not collecting as much as you used to? Let me know. Leave a comment. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I do appreciate it when you do. Well, until next time, may the Force be with you, and keep collecting!